can I meet with the SDRs calling on my campaign? This is another really great question. Why would you ask this one, David?
So it goes back to some of the things we've talked about, Alex, where at the end of the day, sales and prospecting is about a SDR having a great conversation with a prospect. And there are a lot of methodologies we put into place to try to maximize that. But at the end of the day, I really think you've got to talk to the SDR and feel comfortable with the SDR on your program, and to have the success that you're looking for, as well as going back to protecting your brand and making sure they're representing your brand in the right way. And so I think it's really important. I also think you flip it around, that the SDRs who are real gems love to speak to clients, both because they get a sense of who they're representing, the types of people that they're booking appointments for, and they learn a lot from the conversations and meeting with clients. And so I think it's really important mindset for appointment setting companies to have, both to make the prospects and clients feel comfortable with the person who is basically representing their organization, but also to maximize the success of the SDRs.
Yeah, and this one's revealing because their gut answer is going to tell you a lot. They're like, yeah, you can, of course you can meet the people representing your company. That's a good first indication. If they're like, ooh, we don't know about that. We don't normally let you meet the people representing your brand. That definitely might raise a red flag. So,
yeah. And just to add one other thing here that I think is important. What we found generates the most success is having a dedicated SDR. So somebody who is calling for one organization and is really focused on that organization, versus a round robin approach, where some organizations will have multiple people, depending on the day, calling, reading off a script, picking up on somebody else's leads. And I get it, because that's an efficient way to do staffing, but it is, I don't think, an efficient or effective way to do proactive outreach. And so that is another revealing thing with this type of question, because if they have a whole team of people calling on your behalf, it is hard to meet with them, right? But if you have one or two or three and they are really focused on your program, then that should be able to be facilitated.
Yeah, that I didn't even think about that, but absolutely. If it's a rotating bench of SDRs calling on your campaign, you can't meet with them because they're rotating out every week, and that's illuminating in its own way. So I'll open it up to the SalesRoads, or a way to dig a little bit deeper here, or we touched on this a little bit, but requesting a role play, David, is taking, I think, meeting the SDRs one step further, right? You are not just going to meet them and make sure they sound good on the phone, but you're actually going to see how they sound talking about your product. And Melise had a great follow-up question here. She said, when you do a role play with SDRs, are you looking for red flags? Are you testing their product knowledge, or are you looking for something else? So you've asked to meet the SDRs. The firm said, yeah, of course. You get in there, you request a role play. What are the biggest things you're looking for here? And I'll even extend her question a little bit. What are some things that you might let slide a little bit? And what are some things that are going to be, hard and fast that you really want to make sure you get out of that role play?
Yeah. So I think, and there's a reason why I think it's important to request a role play, not just a meet and greet, right? And a meet and greet is good. I mean, I think that they should get to meet, but you really want to hear how they're representing your organization, how they sound, how they relate to the prospect. Are they engaging in their tone and their voice, and are they asking the right types of questions? Are they active listening? So when you say something, did they listen to it? Did they pick up on it? Did they ask a good follow-up question, or maybe incorporate some of what you said, maybe a pain point you brought up, into what they are saying to you? And so I think it is really important to hear them in action and hear them doing their thing, to really get a sense of the SDR who is on your program. And it is also a great training opportunity, right? Because you might like them, but listen, for us, we role play with every client. We ask them to come in at the end of the training, day 5 of the training, And so that's a lot of training in some ways, but also it's the beginning of their journey with that client. And so they can give some perspective. Maybe there was a question that could have been asked, or there was maybe a term that was said. And that is a great opportunity to pick up some of that by speaking directly with the client. So it is more, at least sort of those types of feelings and things like that. I think that as far as product knowledge, I think that they need to be versed, obviously, in the product or service that they are representing. But as the SDR, we're also not doing the demo. You don't want to have an expectation that there's a lot of technical questions that they maybe aren't versed or well versed in answering. Because to be honest, a lot of times, and we talk to our clients about what the right handoff point is, that shouldn't be in a cold call. That should be brought up and discussed in the discovery call. And so there is a level of understanding of the company, of the product or service, but you don't necessarily want to grill them on specific product knowledge, because in many ways that isn't even their role. But Uber, and just to end, is I would say at the end of the role play, going back to one of the original questions, is do I feel comfortable with this individual representing my company, my brand? Do I want them to be the first conversation that is had? And I think if that is a yes, then, even if there are a few little things that maybe there's still some training opportunities, that is a great way to evaluate that SDR.
Yeah. So you want to make sure that they're representing your brand professionally. You don't want to ask them the toughest technical questions that your account executives who've spent years and years with your company are going to know. You ultimately, as the vendor selling the product, are going to have a better handle on that. So you're not looking to throw bombs at the SDRs and, test their product knowledge so much, but am I comfortable with them representing my brand? Can they engage? Are they going to be able to speak to my buyers? And I think of an example here from a client we had who, and I started my career as an SDR here at SalesRoads, so I've had some experience with this, who's talked about carpet side versus concrete side. And it totally threw me through a loop. And for people that don't know, if you work in a warehouse or something, the carpet side is everyone that works in an office, right? The accountants, the people, the business leaders. And if you're working on the concrete side, you are, working on the machinery. And he used that language in a role play, and it was really illuminating because it showed that you really need to be able to know the lingo, right? And saying carpet side versus concrete side, that's not product knowledge. That's being able to engage the persona you're speaking with. And that should have been covered in the training. And if it wasn't covered in the training, the role play is a great place to catch that before it goes live on phones.
Absolutely.
So for SalesRoads here, can people meet with SDRs calling on their campaigns? And if they request a role play, what are we going to tell them?
So yes, we absolutely, and we encourage our clients to meet with SDRs calling on their campaign. We do make that introduction once they've gone through training, and once we built the playbook, because we think, as I've mentioned, it's really important to choose the right SDRs for the right programs and for the right personas, and to get them ready for a client conversation. And so, but we actually proactively, we really ask for our clients to come on at the end of the training, the last day of training, and do role play. And we found it so helpful, as I've mentioned, for our SDRs, for our clients, so that they can have that level of comfort with their SDR, and also to build team unity, right? Because we are a real one big team when we partner with our clients. And so we've built that into our methodology, and it's been good for our clients because they can feel and understand and know that they're being represented in the right way. And it's great for our SDRs from a learning, team building perspective.
Yeah, and like you said earlier too, a great SDR is going to be really excited about this opportunity. So this isn't something that is, it shouldn't be burdensome at all. This is a win-win opportunity for everybody to get together, to get some more real world experience, if you will, talking to the person that's more of a product knowledge expert, and really getting your feet wet there before you go ahead and hit the phones.